The word sets alarm bells ringing. It triggers an air of resigned fate. It fills the expanse of our skies year after year, and it makes us sick. It is human-made, and yet there's no escaping it. Air pollution makes the headlines once again. We're in October, and Delhiites are already pulling out their masks and air purifiers and bracing themselves for a dreaded winter haze. But we're really here today to understand what lies at the core of our combat with air pollution. Hello and welcome to COgreen, a podcast on environment solutions brought to you by iFOREST. You're tuned into the very first episode, and this is going to be the first of many conversations we have going forward with the iFOREST team. iFOREST is one of India's most premier environment research and innovation organizations. So thank you for joining us. Our first episode is with Dr. Chandra Bhushan, the CEO and founder of iFOREST. We call him CB. CB has been an environmentalist for more than 25 years. His scope of work encompasses both global and local issues from climate change, pollution, waste management, energy transition. He's done the whole gambit. His columns in Times of India as well as Financial Express and his several media interviews have made him a very lucid voice to listen to as India navigates some of its most pressing climate challenges. Welcome, CB.
Thank you.
CB, so you've been an environmentalist for the last 25 years, and this is also the time when Delhi starts seeing a major decline in air quality from the beginning of 2000s. Take us through what that shift has been like through the years. What is the story of Dilli ki hawa?
In early 1990s, when I started my career, Delhi had major black carbon pollution issue. When we used to blow our nose, black color mucus used to come out in our hanky, and that was largely because of diesel pollution from automobiles, mostly buses, and we solved that problem. We shifted public transport to CNG. If you remember, Delhi was in fact the first city in the developing world which had shifted its entire public transport to a cleaner fuel, which is CNG. Of course, it was because of action from the Supreme Court, and we had immediate results. The black carbon pollution vanished, and we became complacent. We thought that we have solved the air pollution problem of Delhi, but the fact was we had only solved one of the problems, that was black carbon coming out of diesel buses and three-wheelers and taxis in Delhi. One problem we had solved, but there were hundreds of problems there at that point of time. PM10, PM2.5 levels were high in Delhi, and that was because of many other reasons, including biomass and industries and dust. We did not pay attention to that. And then you come to 2000, when people start realizing that we are one of the most polluted cities in the world. The noise around air pollution increases across the world. Delhi is identified as the pollution hotspot. And from 2000 onwards, we are actually struggling to find answers. And that is because we are not defining the problem correctly. What is the reason for air pollution in Delhi? That is the question we need to ask. So this is the story of Dilli ki hawa, and और ये हवा खराब होती रहेगी if we do not solve the basic problem. And my hope is that both central government and the state government surrounding Delhi will work together and solve it.
So CB, what then is the main source of pollution? What is the main reason why we're in this situation today?
See, air pollution is caused by two factors. One is what we burn, and second is of course dust which comes out of from construction site and from open spaces, from roads, you have dust. So there are only two major sources of air pollution. Now let's look at India. To meet our energy need, as well as we also burn waste. We burn agro residue in field, which is not for energy, but those are the material that we burn. Collectively, we burn about 2 to 2.2 billion tons of material every year. 2 to 2.2 billion tons of material. Out of this, about 1.1, 1.2 billion ton is coal. We burn 1.1, 1.2 billion ton of coal to meet our energy need. In fact, 70% of our electricity comes from coal. All our industries mostly run on coal. Then we burn biomass for cooking, and about half a billion ton, 500 million tons of biomass we use for cooking food. So the poor of India uses 500 million tons of biomass. Then we burn oil and gas, oil in our vehicles, say about 130, 140 million tons. Gas for cooking, richer people use natural gas for cooking. And then we burn waste. Now, if you add all of them, you find that 80% of material that we burn in India is coal and biomass. It means that 80% of, at least 80% of smoke is coming from burning coal and biomass. And then the rest 20% comes from burning oil and gas and other things. But now look back over the last, say, 20 years. Where has been our focus? Our focus has been on oil, right? Our entire focus has been how do we reduce pollution from automobile? And pollution in automobile comes from oil burning. We use petrol and diesel, we burn petrol and diesel, and the smoke comes out of the tailpipe. By the way, we now have pollution control equipments in automobile. So the pollution that comes out of burning oil in automobile is far less than if there was no pollution control equipment. So overall, if you see, our energy basket is our air pollution basket. What we burn the most pollutes the most.
So that's really insightful. What you're saying is what we burn pollutes the most. But can you take us through what your research shows between industrial emissions, Diwali firecrackers, biomass emissions from the urban poor, or fuel guzzling cars, or stubble burning? How much, who accounts for how much, who takes the blame?
As I said that 80% of what we burn is coal and biomass, right? And therefore 80% at all India level, 80%, at least 80% of pollution will come from coal and biomass. But it is even higher because we burn biomass without any pollution control equipment, right? When a poor is burning biomass for cooking, there is no pollution control equipment, 100% smoke goes out. Similarly, coal is a solid fuel, it burns poorly, therefore the pollution from coal is much more higher than, say, burning natural gas or oil. So the percentage of pollution actually from burning coal and biomass could be much, much higher, maybe about 90%, even more, because oil and gas, we use some sort of pollution control equipment. In any case, gas is a cleaner fuel. We all burn gas at our home, and you can see there is not much smoke that comes out. Now, this same proportion more or less is applicable for Delhi NCR as well. Now, why I am saying Delhi NCR is important for you to understand. Delhi is only about 2.7% in terms of geographical area, 2.7% of the entire national capital region. So Delhi sits in between of highly industrialized, urbanized, motorized and agricultural districts of India, which is Delhi NCR plus couple of districts of Uttar Pradesh. Say for example, Agra is adjoining Delhi, and pollution from Agra will affect Delhi and pollution from Delhi will affect Agra. And this concept is called as airshed. So Delhi's air quality is influenced by an airshed of about 300-kilometer radius. Okay. NCR is only about 150 kilometer by the way radius. The radius of NCR is only about 150 kilometers. Now, if we want to solve Delhi's air quality problem, we will have to take an airshed approach to solving it. Now, research we have done at iFOREST shows the following, that we can think about a air pollution action plan for Delhi starting with addressing this issue in 150-kilometer radius, which is NCR plus couple of districts of Uttar Pradesh. This is about 80 million people reside in this region, and when we did our calculations, we found that 40% of PM 2.5, particulate matter less than 2.5 micron in size, which is the most damaging pollutant to our body, PM 2.5, about 40% of PM 2.5 pollution comes from cooking fuel, even in Delhi NCR. General assumption is that everyone has moved to LPG, right? Everyone feels that we are cooking food on LPG. That's not true. Even in Delhi, and you have villages in Delhi, people continue to use biomass. I live in Noida and I see people using biomass for cooking, because of course LPG is expensive and there are a lot of people who cannot afford LPG, so they continue to cook on biomass. So we found that 40% of pollution is from cooking fuel. 10% of PM 2.5 is from heating fuel, and there are only about 2 or 3 months when we use heating fuel to warm ourselves, that is during winter. Okay. So you have basically November, December, January when people burn things to heat themselves, to keep their houses warm. Okay. So 10% is from heating fuel. About 30% of pollution is from industries and thermal power plant. So 1/3 of the pollution is from industries and thermal power plant. Automobile, which has been the focus of entire action and continues to be the focus of action, contributes less than 10%. So this is the PM 2.5 inventory of Delhi NCR. Now, if we want to reduce pollution in Delhi NCR, if we want to see cleaner air in Delhi, then the numbers are quite clear. We have to reduce pollution from cooking and heating fuel, which is about 50% of PM 2.5. Work on industries, which is about 1/3 of pollution. Then look at automobile, which is about 10%. And of course, I mean to say, automobile pollution is very local and it is about 10%. Think about moving your entire public transport, which is on CNG, to electricity now. Electric vehicles are cheaper. Give incentive to move two-wheelers and three-wheelers and cars to electricity. That is something that can be done in Delhi. So the formula is very simple: 50% cooking and heating fuel, 30% industry and thermal power plant, and 20% the rest.
But what about PM10?
PM10 pollution levels are also because of dust. Okay. The proportion will be a little different in PM10 because the dust contributions increases a lot, and the dust is not only because of construction. Again, the focus of our entire dust control measure in Delhi is to go after construction sites. But the fact is, we have a lot of dust coming from roadside. We keep digging up our roads and somehow during winter. Okay. So we have dust from roads, but we also have large amount of dust coming from outside. Delhi is at the border of Thar desert. Delhi is a semi-arid area, by the way, and because of open areas, open fields, you have large amount of airborne dust which comes to Delhi.
So you do realize that what you're saying sounds a little controversial. You're saying that construction is not at fault. Rich people driving their large SUVs occupying roads are not at fault. Instead, it's the poor who are burning their biomass emissions to keep themselves warm. Are you apologizing for the rich?
Well, the way you have put it, it almost sounds as if I am apologetic for the rich. Okay, but let me just say this. Delhi has done everything. You cannot fault the city. Think about a city moving its entire public transport to CNG. We have metro which runs on electricity, right? We stop vehicles. We almost stop the economic activity of the city during winters. Think about the chaos that happens at the airport during winter. Okay, because why? Because we stop construction, we stop vehicles, we do all kinds of things. In fact, last year we stopped construction of a runway at Delhi airport, which led to huge backlog in flights and chaos at the airport. So even laying of a runway was stopped because the city government and the people who are implementing air pollution norms felt that laying of a runway will stop pollution, which is not true. Every year we have tried the same things and we have not got the result. Now one has to go back to the politics of it. Okay, the first is that we tend to take action on things which is visible. And there is a car and there is a tailpipe and there is smoke coming out. That must be the biggest problem. So let's attack that problem. There is a construction site and there is dust. So let's stop construction. There are these big vehicles coming into the city. Let's stop them. So our general tendency is that we want to stop things which is visible. We want to take action. But unfortunately, air pollution is not only about what is visible. It is also about what is invisible. Okay. So that is number one. Number two, this entire discussion on rich versus poor has also, in some way twisted the entire air pollution agenda in the country, not only in Delhi. That let's first make sure that the SUV is non-polluting. Why care about poor? Okay, poor is burning biomass, let them burn biomass. But I think this entire approach has been anti-poor. Every year, 6 lakh people die in India because of indoor air pollution. So if I am proposing to shift cooking fuel to cleaner alternatives like LPG or electricity, it is possibly the most pro-woman and pro-poor agenda. It is not about rich versus poor. It is about actually moving the poorest of this country to cleaner fuel to make sure that they don't die because of indoor air pollution. And of course, there is a co-benefit. The co-benefit is your outdoor air pollution, your ambient air pollution levels also go down. So what you call controversial for me is actually good science and actually good politics. It's also good economics. Cooking fuel transition, I believe, is the biggest social and environmental agenda that this country has, and it will have co-benefit of reducing air pollution.
So I'd like to take you back to something you had said earlier, which is that pollution isn't just Delhi's problem, it's also a problem of smaller cities. And in fact, it's a lot worse in a lot of smaller cities across India. Take me through how, I mean, why?
Now, if you look at the data of air quality in last couple of years, you will find that Delhi comes at number 6 or 7. In fact, this means that there are 5 or 6 other cities which are more polluted than Delhi. There is a city near Guwahati in Assam which has been declared as the most polluted city. Bhagalpur and Munger in Bihar, Patna is actually more polluted than Delhi. You have Aligarh, which seems to be far more polluted. Faridabad pollution levels are higher than Delhi. But because it is a national capital, the focus of media and everyone is on the national capital, and rightly so. Delhi represents India. It is the capital of the country. And, we have international gaze on Delhi. So the focus is on Delhi, but the fact is that air pollution is a chronic issue across Indo-Gangetic plain. We now have air pollution challenges in Mumbai, which was in fact considered to be one of the cleanest cities 10 years back. But Mumbai air quality in certain seasons is as bad as Delhi. We have air pollution challenges in Bangalore as well as in Cuttack, Hyderabad. So it is now becoming a pan-India problem, and we now have to find answers for across the country. Of course, the focus has to be the most polluted part, which is Indo-Gangetic plains, but other parts of the country also, we will have to address air pollution challenges.
I understand that iFOREST has a campaign going on about 21 cities. Could you tell us a little more about it?
So we have analyzed data from tier 2, tier 3 cities on their air quality, and we are finding that those cities are far more polluted than Delhi. But there is no concern or awareness about air quality in those cities. So our entire work is to increase awareness in cities like Patna that you face far worse air quality. Your air quality is far worse than Delhi, and that the citizens of Patna ought to do something about it. Okay. It is not only Delhi that is a problem, your city is also a problem. And so our 21 city analysis, which we are going to put out in the next couple of months, is to increase awareness about air quality in smaller cities, to galvanize people in those cities to act on air quality, to work together to solve this problem. This is what our work is.
So, what is your prescription, CB, both for the short term as well as the long term? What can Delhi do now, and what can we all do in the long run?
So I'll give you this answer in different levels. Uh, Number one, that Delhi air quality can only be solved if we have a uniform regional action plan. So what we do in Delhi should be done in Noida, Ghaziabad, Faridabad, Gurugram, Agra, the entire region. So the first prescription is that we need to have a uniform regional action plan to improve air quality in Delhi. Now I have proposed that we set up an empowered agency which should become the sole agency responsible for air quality management. This is not a new concept. Across the world, countries have tried it. In fact, in 1960s, California set up something called as California Air Resources Board to improve the air quality in Los Angeles. And in 60s and 70s, the air quality in Los Angeles was as foul as Delhi. And by setting up this agency, which is basically a regional agency, a statewide agency, coordinating with different cities, they have been able to clean air quality in Los Angeles. China has done the same for Beijing. And therefore, the idea that there be a regional empowered agency has been experimented successfully in the rest of the world. We can do it in Delhi as well. And the lead has to be taken by Central Pollution Control Board. In fact, we have a law to do it. We can set up this agency under Environmental Protection Act, by the way, and empower them, give them resources, give them manpower, give them technical assistance to do this job. So that is number one, top level, the governance of air quality. That will be my answer. At the regional level, our recommendation is that the Government of India, in cooperation with states, should launch a program to move cooking fuel from biomass to LPG or electricity. By the way, the biggest air pollution action in India is actually Prime Minister Ujjwala program. People do not know this. But if there has been some improvement in air quality or some reduction in air pollution, it has happened because of PM Ujjwala program, because it has moved people from cooking on biomass to LPG. So our proposal is that the Government of India should launch a new version of PM Ujjwala program to shift in the first stage the entire Delhi NCR plus couple of districts of UP to clean cooking fuel. Now, people will say it is going to cost a lot. Our estimation is that it is going to cost about 6,000 crore rupees annually. This is worth the price to be paid. 6,000 crore rupees to move Delhi NCR plus couple of districts of UP to cleaner cooking fuel will reduce PM 2.5 and other pollutants in Delhi NCR by at least 20% and very quickly. Yeah, you will see quick results. So, prescription number one, move them. Similarly, Delhi can do it. Delhi need not wait for central government for this program. In fact, Delhi has enough money. We have something called as air pollution cess that Delhi has collected. I think about 1,000 crore rupees is there. Delhi can use this money, and now this winter, to subsidize everyone to use LPG, and you will see quick improvement in air quality. I can tell you right now, Delhi can do that. Similarly, Delhi can use its pollution money that it has collected from pollution cess to make sure that no one is burning garbage and biomass to warm themselves. During winter, you will see that a lot of people burn things to keep warm. The Delhi government can supply electric heaters and other things to make sure that that doesn't happen. And it's not going to cost a lot. It can be done. At the NCR level also, the agenda should be to move people away from polluting heating fuel. If we do this, we will reduce 20-25% of PM 2.5. Agenda number 2 is to move industries through better pollution control equipment or by switching fuel to cleaner fuel to reduce pollution. Delhi and its surrounding areas have thermal power plants which are quite old. We can shut them. Thermal power plants which are more than 30 years old can be shut. It will again give quick results. Small industries where pollution control is very difficult can be moved to electricity. The MSME sector, small, medium and micro sector, where pollution comes from burning coal and biomass and other fuel, can be shifted to electricity. It will again give quick results. These are some of the big agenda. But one of the biggest agenda is how do we stop stubble burning, which is not in Delhi, which is actually largely in Punjab, then Haryana, then Uttar Pradesh. So the other effort has to be to reduce pollution from stubble burning, because the spike that you see in October and November is precisely because of stubble burning. I don't think we should be arguing about it. I still see people saying no, stubble burning is not the problem. Of course, the stubble burning contributes only about 10% of the pollution if you take year around. But in October and November, the intensity is so high that they contribute maybe 50% of the total pollutants. So I have been proposing that we should redesign the combine harvester so that it can cut from the bottom rather than leave about a foot of stubble on the ground. So these are some of the action plan that we need to take at the regional level, but also in the city itself. I also believe that Delhi government has to be far more aggressive on public transport and electrification of vehicles. It has some incentives and subsidies, but suppose Delhi government decides that by 2028, in the next 3 to 4 years, they want to shift all their public transport to electricity. It is possible because electric vehicles are now cost competitive. They are, in fact, in many cases, they are cheaper than diesel and petrol vehicles. So these are some of the program that Delhi government should launch.
So CB, you spoke about the multiple rungs of accountability and the levels of policy intervention, but I'd like your take specifically on two things. One is at the top level, the India's Environment Ministry had launched the National Clean Air Program in 2019. Has that been effective? How can we make it more robust? And secondly, Government of Delhi has launched the 21-point action plan, which includes initiatives like even artificial rain. Where do you see these as really making a dent in the pollution problem?
So let me start with National Clean Air Program. I think we need to be realistic in terms of what National Clean Air Program can achieve, because the design of the program is very city centric and it is focused on municipalities. So essentially that program, which is a very good idea, is to empower municipalities to take action on air quality. Municipalities can control dust from road and construction. Municipalities can control pollution from industries. There are industries within the municipal limits that can be controlled. Municipality can take care of waste management. There's a lot of garbage that is burnt, which can be controlled by municipalities. These are only some of the things that municipalities can do. And And they are doing it. In fact, there was a latest report from Ministry of Environment and Forest which showed that most of the action of municipalities on under National Clean Air Program was on dust mitigation. So, if it is only about dust mitigation within the cities, controlling garbage burning is fine, but some of these things will not add up, okay? Because the program is not addressing the core challenge, which is what we burn. Municipalities have no control on what fuel people use for cooking. State government and central government will have to come in to support people to move from polluting fuel to cleaner fuel. Municipalities can't do it. So, I think we have to be realistic about what National Clean Air Program can achieve. It can achieve some amount of dust reduction within the cities, reduce garbage burning, waste management. These are only things that National Clean Air Program can achieve. It can improve monitoring of air quality. Many cities don't have air pollution monitors. So, National Clean Air Program is supporting them to install air quality monitors, which is important. It can increase awareness about air quality. Those things it is doing, but I don't think that National Clean Air Program as it is designed can lead to significant reduction in air pollution. That it will not be able to do. For that, National Clean Air Program will have to include initiative like clean cooking fuel, energy transition in industries, shutting of old thermal power plant. Those things will have to be done. Electrification of vehicles. Those things will have to come in. And therefore, there has to be graduation of National Clean Air Program to a little more comprehensive agenda than what it has right now. As far as Delhi 21 point action plan is concerned, some of them are frankly experimentations, and they have not worked in the past, they will not work now also. Odd and even, for example, Delhi has experimented with odd and even vehicle rationing system. It has not worked in the past. Delhi has installed smog towers. In fact, Delhi government has spent crores of rupees in installing smog towers. They have not worked. Delhi government has bought water cannons to spray water to reduce dust and pollution. That has not worked. This time they want to do artificial rain, cloud seeding and artificial rain. I am 100% sure it will not work. We are not trying to solve the problem. We are just trying to, wish away the problem by some miracle technology. This is what we are trying to do. So, my answer is that Delhi government should forget about this experimentation. Think about few big things that they can do. Dust control on roads and construction. Making sure that they subsidize in next 3 months LPG connection to every household so that they don't burn biomass. Provide heaters to everyone or enforce societies to provide heaters to everyone so that garbage is not burnt and biomass is not burnt for keeping people warm. Make sure that there's enough public transportation so that people can move on public transportation. There are no shortage of public transportation. Make sure that there's no electricity cut, as basic as that, because when you have electricity cut, you have DG sets which starts. And then work with central government and surrounding states to make sure that some of the larger air pollution agenda is implemented. Then you will see some results. But I think Delhi government also has an opportunity to work with Punjab government. Both the states are ruled by Aam Aadmi Party, and my hope is that both the state governments can work together and reduce stubble burning significantly, because the spike in pollution, coming spike in pollution, which will be around Diwali time, will not be only because of firecrackers. Of course, we should make sure that people are dissuaded and convinced not to use firecrackers, will be because of stubble burning, and that can be controlled.
My last question is that Delhi is expected to become the most populous city in the world by 2030, thanks to the intrastate migrants. How geared are we to getting there, given that there's so many more people who are going to be jostling for clean air at that point? And what can we learn from world examples, examples of metros, cities around the world who have a similar challenge that's lying ahead?
So I think Delhi needs a comprehensive environmental action plan, number one. Number two, while the city will attract people because it is an economic hub, but I think more people will be attracted to the surrounding cities, Noida and Ghaziabad and Faridabad and Gurugram, and we see that. So we have to think about Delhi plus agenda in terms of mobility, how people will move, housing, how do we provide better housing, water, how do we make sure that we give clean water and treat sewage, cooking and heating fuel, air quality, all these things will have to be thought together. And of course, climate action. Delhi also experiences extreme rainfall. In fact, every rainy season, the city comes to stand still because of flooding. So it has to modernize its stormwater drains. So the city requires a comprehensive relook at its environmental challenges and how it wants to become a world-class city in next 10 to 15 years. Otherwise, it will become unmanageable. Think about it. We have heat waves and the city comes to stand still. We had temperature of more than 50 degrees, by the way, this summer, which was highest recorded temperature. We have extreme rainfall, the city comes to stand still. So we move from heat wave to flooding, then to air pollution. The city needs to reinvent itself. The city needs to think about its future, how it can remain a green, vibrant, world-class city. As far as air pollution is concerned, no country, no city in the world has solved their air quality issues without addressing biomass and coal. And the most recent example is Beijing. There used to be competition between Beijing and Delhi in terms of which is the most polluted city in the world, right? And just a couple of years back. But Beijing has improved its air quality, and they have done that by reducing coal, by reducing biomass, by increasing greenery, therefore reducing dust levels, by moving its vehicle to electricity and cleaner fuel. These are some of the things that they have done. Every country in the world, wherever air pollution challenges have been mitigated, air quality has improved, has done so only based on these 5 or 6 formulas. These are not rocket science. This is known to everyone. And Delhi will also have to do this. India will have to do this if we want to have cleaner air for everyone.
Thank you, CV. Thank you so much for joining us. Please tune in for more episodes that are going to come up on a regular basis. Log into Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, follow us at iFOREST Global, and tune in to COgreen for more.